Hey, so welcome back to my channel. Today I want to talk about how the rich get richer and how you and I can join them. Now, the whole reason I thought of this topic today is because I've been having a lot of conversations with people, well, not that much, but something keeps coming up and it's everywhere. Prices are going up. This is going up. Food is going up. Rent is going up. Everything is going up. And, the petrol companies are taking all of our money and the landlords are taking all of our money and everything. It just sounds like not good news. Like everything is not good news for the people. I would always advise to stay away from the news as much as possible, but every now and again you just glance at it and it's like doomsday. Every day doomsday, every time, everywhere you go. Mainstream news is bad news always. Now, this led me to think, why is this and how can you make good out of this bad situation? Which kind of highlights what I actually want to talk about today. So when I hear things like this and I'm seeing it and people are, for lack of a better word, complaining, I take a step back and I try my best to see it from a place of principles. So if you've heard any of my videos, you know that I like to talk about principles because principles existed before me and principles will exist after me. So I'm not smart in any way, shape or form. These are things that I've been around and will be around, and it makes sense to see things from this perspective. So that being said, here's my point. During the pandemic, the big farmers made their money. All the big pharmaceuticals, they made their money. They made bank. They were laughing. Throughout the pandemic, the big tech made their money. So all the big technology companies, the Apples, the Spotify, the Google and the Facebook and the Amazon, all of them made bank. They were laughing. Now, in the back end of this pandemic, the big oil companies are now making bank. And in between all of them is the middlemen of all middlemen, and that's the financial industry. And they, of course, all made bank. Now, this has got everybody talking down about how these big companies are putting profits before people. And there's so many variables to that equation. Now, if you're thinking from a business perspective, you won't be too mad about them. But when you're thinking about it from a personal perspective, this is how I look at it. If you are aware of the universal laws, there's plenty, but few famous books like the Kabbalion have written about 7 of them, and then other people say there's 12. But there's one particular principle that I want to use to explain my point. Now, have you ever seen a one-sided paper? I'm sure you haven't. Have you ever seen a one-sided coin? I'm sure you haven't. So everything has two sides. Everything has a positive and a negative. This is the law of polarity. Plus, minus, up, down, in, out. What is above, so is below. What is below, so is above. So on and so forth, which is the truth across everything. So this is why the rich get richer, because they have a wealthy mindset that has trained them to look for the opportunities in the mess. Now, I don't know about you, but the pandemic was one hell of a mess. Now, I'm not trying to talk about conspiracy theory or they made it up. That's irrelevant. The point is that when you see a messy situation, there is an opportunity within that mess. So basically, the uglier something is going this way, the more opportunities there is going the other way. So when individuals and companies are dealing with a quote-unquote messy situation and they have found their way of turning that mess into gold, then they are not being diabolical, they are not being evil, they are not being bad. They are literally going according to the very laws of polarity. Now, when it comes to morality, that's a whole different ballgame. But nonetheless, they are looking at something that's negative And instead of focusing on the negativity and the things going wrong, they are focusing on how can we turn this into something right and profit from it. Now, this is key. It's a massive reason why the rich get richer. I believe if it's not Warren Buffett, it's a Rockefeller statement that says the best time to invest is when there's blood in the streets. And this is exactly what the wealthy have done and what you should be doing when you are in a messy, difficult, or unadvantageous situation. Is stop, think, look, where can I find the opportunity in this mess? Because there is an opportunity in the mess, and you can guarantee that. You can take that to the bank because it's based on the very universal law of polarity. So instead of, during the pandemic, instead of just getting sunk into the mess, and I can't lie, I was like worried and anxious and what on earth is going on, I also found the time to think, where can I find the opportunity in this to make myself some money, to make myself feel better? What can I actually do? And that is the golden key right there. It's taking the time to see the opportunity in the mess. So my advice to myself and to you and my younger self is to look for the positive in the negative. Now, here's an actual amazing fact. During the last 2 years, a record number of businesses were registered in the UK and the US. A record number. So that means there was a handful of people who was like, nope, I know this is not great, but I want to seek the opportunity to make it into something great. A record number. The second fact was that for the first time in human recorded history, 1% of adults had a net worth of $1 million. So during what was said to be the worst economic situation for a very long time, we had also broken records as to the amount of adults who had a net worth of $1 million. So instead of them focusing on all of this ugly stuff over here, they said, what can I do to increase my net worth? So that is my advice to you. That is the advice that I sort of realized and thought, all right, I need to implement, is look for the opportunity. This is, as they always say, the greatest time to be alive. People are becoming millionaires in 24 months flat because the opportunities are ripe. So as I believe it's Rockefeller says, when there's blood in the streets, that is the time to buy. And this is referencing like investing. But at the same time, when everyone is losing their head, it's the person who has their head who sees the opportunity. So unplug from the news, unplug from non-productive conversations and gossip, and focus. And I promise you, you will find an opportunity to improve your life, because we are hardwired to do so. But you have to offer yourself the time. So hopefully that was helpful. If it was, just give it a thumbs up or share it to someone who is talking too much about the negative side of things. And subscribe to the channel if you feel like it. Thank you and have a great rest of your day.